Maestro story. Okay. We've discussed this a little bit. Turns out that we were kind of right. Like, this is the new boss.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
We thought maybe that there were 3 different characters involved here. It's actually 2. 2 different characters are involved here. We got the Maestro, who, by the way, greatness takes its toll on everybody, right? It is hard. It's hard to churn out new stuff, to put out new stuff, right? Especially if you're the one that's solely responsible, right? Like a conductor or a maestro would be. I'm not really too familiar with how writing music works. It seems like it could be pretty stressful, right? I put together YouTube videos, and if they don't do well, it's kind of stressful, right? And I constantly have to put out new YouTube videos to stay relevant with YouTube. It's kind of unfortunate, but that's just how it is. It's how YouTube is. But we have another character here, the Harbinger, right? The Darkness. I wanted to go back and watch the video breaking down the story of Xisha. So the Great Storm, the idea is there's an individual that's being corrupted, right? It doesn't overtly say Xisha here.
Look at the stars.
This is from a little while ago. This is the Facebook and web version of the game, right? And this is Xisha here,
their whispers too.
right? But Xisha is being corrupted by some force, right? This individual is being corrupted by the chaos or whatever, right?
Do you feel them getting closer, calling you? Fear not, for they are coming to save you.
Yeah. So I think
all the love you've been denied.
I think I remember that one of the Valkyries here and the Emperor, Kornak. No. I'm sorry. This isn't the Emperor. Or is this the Emperor? I can't remember. Is Kornak the Emperor? Anyway, Valkyrie and the Emperor, I think, had some kind of affair. Do you guys remember? Was it like Valkyrie and the Emperor had some kind of affair or something? Yeah.
It will finally be yours.
And this I think is Xisha pre-corruption. Like the chaos, like...
Tell me, do you hear the voice of Harbinger?
So Harbinger, this is what I wanted to point out here. Harbinger is the thing that corrupted Xisha, that created Xisha. And Xisha is like the story antagonist on Hero Wars Facebook and web, but she's a playable character on Hero Wars Alliance, right? So it's the Harbinger is some kind of celestial entity, I guess. Some kind of old god, maybe. Some kind of mythical creature. Maybe even like a fallen angel. So this is obviously the same thing that's happening to...
Of course you don't.
The Maestro, right? It's the same thing.
But you will.
So the idea is this individual, the daughter of the corrupt emperor and the affair that he had with a Valkyrie, right? The winged things that, take care of our artifacts and all of that expeditions. The daughter is corrupted. She becomes Xisha. She takes this chaos crystal, some kind of crystal, and jams it into the earth or the ground or whatever. And it creates this rift that starts the Great Storm, which is the pet event that we have every other month, right? Every other month, we destroy the boss on the Great Storm little map, right? Very Lovecraft, Soundcrog. Very Lovecraft, yeah. We have these, like, dragon things flying in, which are not the same thing as the tentacle with the eye.
Kneel before your new master.
All right, right? The Harbinger, I guess, is the new master, I suppose. Yeah. So then this post right here with this video, the Harbinger is corrupting the Maestro, right? And it's like a devil's bargain almost. You know what I mean? It's a very common story in literature where an individual is like successful, and then his success starts to decline, or him or her, and they sell their soul to the devil, right? For 10 more years of success. And at the end of that, the devil or whoever they made the bargain with takes their side of the deal, or 10 years, 20 years, 100 years, whatever it ends up being. And that's how we get this conversion of the Maestro and his merry band, right? He gets this. He gets the tentacles in his head, right? And then he transforms into Cobra Commander. And then he's got his little fellow musicians here. He takes control of the crowd somehow, and he's got a magical song that we're probably gonna have to deal with. And then here we go with presumably the new City of Asgard boss and the new mini bosses. Now we know that this is a City of Asgard boss because the timeline teaser thing from a couple of months ago. It's these hands that it shows, right? And it was related to the City of Asgard. So this is the City of Asgard new boss, City of Asgard new mini bosses. Is it going to be replacing Osh? It is very likely a replacement. I think that it'll be a replacement. I actually do hope that Osh stays available for those guilds that don't necessarily want to jump into the new thing. I don't see that happening, but I think it could be good if they did keep it, right? So the guilds that have been cranking out these 160 boss kills every week can continue to do that for a while until they build up the new heroes for whatever it takes for this boss. And you can see on this post right here, the all-time top ranking will soon face a grand reset as Maestro steps up to the podium. With a single sweep of his baton, Maestro rewrites the melody of the battlefield, silencing the past and starting from scratch. Are you ready to compose your legacy once more? This is telling me that like the score, so the 5.6 billion damage that Ivion has done here from God Eaters, or the 5.4 billion that BBM has done from God Eaters, and the 5 billion that Slobberknocker from God Eaters has done. These are all going to be wiped clean, right? We've seen this before, not in this particular game mode, but in other inter-server situations, more on mobile than here on Facebook and web, but it does have precedence. These players will probably get some kind of banner to commemorate their efforts, but it looks like that we're going to have a fresh start. Yeah, and eventually we'll have to find brand new teams, brand new heroes to level, and we'll be making a ton of videos about all of that. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about the Maestro? I like it. I like the story. I hope that they actually spend some time on it. My fear is that this is all we're going to get. My fear is this is the last piece of lore and story that we're going to get about this. There'll be a new activity with 8 tasks to it, and they'll just add it to the game. There'll be a, Ascension to Asgard style activity with 8 tasks in it. Things will switch over, the art will switch over, and that's all we're going to get. I really hope that they do spend some time on this. One of the things that I've seen a lot of people say is good with a story. Could be a broken mess, probably. The cool thing about Hero Wars is there's so many answers to the question, so many answers to the defense that it's never really a waste. The only reason why it would be a waste is if it's heroes that you just don't like. Jim says about there will be bugs. Guaranteed bugs. They need to test it first. Oh, I'm sure that's what they're doing right now. I'm sure they're testing it right now. They've probably been working on it. Like, they wouldn't tease it. They wouldn't have gone this far with it unless they had a close to working or an absolutely working product. Using the players for testing. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. It's a little frustrating, but it's hard to stress test on the level that a live version can do, That's why a lot of games have PTR servers, like player test realms. What was the Osh backstory? Osh's backstory is he's this celestial being that Nebula and Judge kept asleep because he's just like, or it is some kind of like absolute force of nature. So the new Maestro boss team will probably have heroes like Fox or Mojo. Yeah, that'd be funny. We'll get the game in balance. Shitty heroes would be good for a new boss, but then again, doing a damage just to go target as a specialty of a few heroes. Yeah. I would imagine that you will see some good combinations. Like, you know, taking a look at our current iteration of City of Asgard, we've got a couple of really good teams, and for the most part, they're all good heroes. We use Isaac and Sebastian, Nebula. We use those heroes constantly. Maybe Zhu and Martha less so, but you still see them a ton, right? Is it because of Osh? Probably, but I think that they're not bad heroes. I think that Martha probably will stop being used, maybe even stop being leveled by new players. But a lot of players really like Martha and Zhu. You know, the best Team 2s, you know, the Celeste Heidi lines, the Galahad and the Corvus and you know, Rufus. Alvinor was one of the best tanks for City of Asgard, and not a lot of people used. I guess people didn't use Alvinor. I shouldn't say that people didn't level him, because of course they did. You know, just like Cornelius and Lara Croft, they're options. Martha is super underrated. I agree. Yeah, Martha is one of the main reasons that Kark isn't in the meta anymore. But I've been having a lot of fun with. Probably the number one hero that everybody should level in 2024, and that is